Hey friends, hit that subscribe, like, and comment to join this amazing journey. Every click powers new content and means the world to me. Thanks for being the heart of this awesome community. Rusted keys to the Shunned Church, eerie midnight rituals, and the deadly curse that followed a fateful unlock. Heavy clouds gathered over the lonely countryside, a hush settling across the farmland that stretched toward the horizon. No lights glimmered except for a single flicker in a distant window, hinting at a wary occupant who refused to give the night fully to the dark. Beyond the nearest cluster of trees lay a forgotten path that led to a church, once the pride of local faithful, now an abandoned husk with shattered stained glass and creeping vines snaking through every crack in its foundation. The watchers of local lore called it the Shunned Church, a relic that, centuries ago, had served as both a place of worship and a rumored nexus for unholy gatherings. Its weathered spire lurched against the night sky, laced with creeping ivy that looked like black veins under the moonlight. Had one approached the building by day, they would see only a collapsed roof, rotted pews, and walls layered in dust. But by night, the watchers insisted, the church came alive with intangible hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, a presence that conjured half-formed shadows swirling among the pews. The watchers recall stories of bizarre chanting in the gloom, faint lights dancing in the rafters, and cryptic symbols etched into the stone near the apse. People who dared pass by at midnight sometimes glimpsed silhouettes in the broken windows. Illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. For decades, the caretaker of the local cemetery insisted the building be sealed or demolished, but no official took up the cause, fear of unleashing something even more dire if the structure were disturbed. In time, it stood as an unspeakable relic. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The watchers gleaned that at the building's heart, in a hidden crypt or sealed chamber, lay a trove of arcane relics and a battered chest rumored to hold the Black Bible. These watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, a rumored grimoire that once guided a clandestine cult centuries prior. Yet the Watchers also singled out a simpler object that might overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, a ring of rusted keys. According to diaries from a caretaker's grandson, these keys once locked the church's interior doors, preventing outsiders from stumbling onto secret rites. The Watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, that after the meltdown of the cult, these keys were hidden away, as opening those doors again risked unleashing an ancient curse. Some Watchers even claimed that the final caretaker, on his deathbed, had hissed a warning: the keys shall remain rusted. He who cleans them unleashes the hush. No one took such muttering seriously until rumors of ghostly voices in the deserted church soared. Some watchers concluded the keys must remain entombed. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Yet, ironically, it was an outsider, an amateur historian named Clara, who unwittingly retrieved them from an antique shop. The Watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions as the spark of new tragedy. Because Clara, oblivious to the local lore, saw only a set of intriguing old keys on sale for a pittance. She picked them up, drawn by their swirling iron design, planning to incorporate them in a research project about medieval craftsmanship. That small purchase ignited an overshadow illusions scenario. The Watcher's prophecy was about to come true. Freed from their dusty chest, the keys glinted under moonlight, and the hush overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that once guarded the church might stir again. Clara's first hint of trouble came soon after. She was rummaging through an old trunk of documents, cross-referencing the shape of these rusted keys with medieval church locks. She found references in an obscure treatise discussing a sanctum obscura, a centuries-old house of worship that fell from grace after repeated allegations of heresy. The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The treatise included sketches of an unusual multi-toothed key design that matched Clara's keys almost exactly. A marginal scrawl in archaic Latin read something like, "He who unlocks the eastern sacristy dares invite the Watchers from their hush." Intrigued, but not yet alarmed, Clara pinned it as a curiosity. Possibly, she mused, these were indeed the keys from some taboo church. She decided to research further. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Next, she discovered a local map from centuries ago depicting a single large structure to the east of the main hamlet, labeled Ecclesia Penitens, or the Penitent Church. Next to it were scribbles like "Beware the moonlit door" or "Blood was spilled thrice." The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions as a sign of a dark historical event. Clara realized with growing excitement that the building might still stand. Indeed, a quick conversation with a local caretaker confirmed that an old, collapsed church lay about a mile beyond the current cemetery, widely considered haunted. The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that Clara now possessed its original keys, the ones rumored to hold the power to open or seal its cursed depths. She admitted to feeling a thrill of discovery. Yet Watchers caution illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that messing with the church's secrets risked inciting a lethal curse. Clara, though rational, dismissed such talk as superstition. Hoping to glean a nugget of real historical data, Clara decided to approach the building with the keys in hand. Illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. One twilight, she hopped the low fence leading to the property. As she drew closer, the old spire loomed against the dying sun. Weeds choked the path. The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that the hush overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions grew, pressing upon Clara's ears with each step. The battered door of the church hung on rusted hinges, but a smaller side door apparently remained locked. Clara tested the keys, noticing a trembling in her hand, whether from excitement or an intangible presence she couldn't say. The Watchers see illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions in that moment of destiny, the reintroduction of the rusted keys to their rightful place. She found one that slid into the lock with unexpected ease, despite centuries of disuse. I turned, and the bolt clicked. The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The hush overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions parted, letting out a faint exhale from within, as though the building itself gasped. Stepping inside, Clara's flashlight beam revealed a cavernous interior strewn with rubble. Broken pews lay scattered, rotted tapestry sagged from the walls, and blackened scorch marks marred the altar. Possibly an attempt at purging the church's unholy relics in past times. The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. As Clara advanced, her heart pounded with an unidentifiable dread. Something intangible, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, seemed to swirl in the corners, just beyond the flashlight's circle. She paused near the altar, noticing an old trapdoor partially hidden by debris, perhaps leading to a crypt or subchamber. The watchers see illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions reminiscent of rumors about the sanctum obscura. Intrigued, she approached, only to hear the faintest whisper behind her. A hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that might have been wind or a sigh. She turned, saw no one, but the watchers suspect overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, intangible watchers. With trembling determination, she set aside the debris, revealing the trapdoor's handle. She tested it. Locked. Another key from her ring, rust-laden, matched the shape. She inhaled and turned. As the trapdoor yawned open, a stale stench of old air and damp stone wafted out. The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. She descended a short wooden ladder, stepping into a low-ceilinged chamber lit only by her flashlight. Flicking the beam around, she discovered carved symbols on the walls, some shaped like twisted crosses or archaic sigils. The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions as potential black magic or Karabuyu inscriptions. In the center, a dais of sorts, its surface scuffed, as though many ceremonies had been performed there. On the far side lay a set of recesses in the stone, each apparently once used to hold relics or small idols. All were empty now, except one. A tarnished metal box remained. Curiosity overcame caution. She approached the box. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, and found it unlatched. Inside, a sheaf of crumbling parchment, a litany of midnight rites praising an unnamed entity, referencing the watchers in the gloom, to be invoked with blood upon the altar. More chillingly, it specified, those who fail to lock the door thrice invite the unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, possibly describing a cursed infiltration if the church's doors remained open. The watchers glean overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, that the entire building was a vantage for dark conjurations. As she read, a sudden movement in her peripheral vision made her start. She swung the flashlight. For a moment, she glimpsed a shape near the dais, a robed silhouette that vanished instantly. The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that intangible watchers might remain. Rattled, Clara returned the papers to the box, feeling an overshadow illusions, urging her to leave. She scrambled up the ladder. As she re-entered the main floor, she realized the hush. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions had grown oppressively thick. She reached the side door, only to discover it had swung shut. In the gloom, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. She heard faint footsteps behind her, or perhaps it was the echo of her own heartbeat. She wrestled with the handle, locked from outside. The watchers interpret overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions as the initial stage of a dreaded scenario. She might have triggered an ancient curse by unlocking the church. Summoning her composure, she tried the keys again. Then, from the corner of her eye, a flicker of movement. The watchers see illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. She managed to unlock the door, stumbling out into the night. Gasping for breath, she saw no sign of pursuit, but she felt the intangible hush. Overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions following her, as if the church's intangible watchers had awakened. Clara recounted her ordeal to a small circle of watchers. Some believed her easily. Illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Others demanded more evidence. She decided to return, hopefully with a group, gathering a mixture of local historians, curiosity seekers, and even a self-styled exorcist to banish whatever lingered. The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, a confrontation with a dreaded sight. That night, they approached with caution, flashlights, cameras, crucifixes, protective charms. Clara brandished the ring of rusted keys. She explained that the trapdoor below might hold dark relics fueling the intangible presence. If they removed or destroyed them properly, the Watchers might free the church from the hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that haunted it. The Watchers nodded. Illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Upon entering, the group immediately sensed a gloom deeper than physical darkness. The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions as intangible heartbreak or malevolence. The swirl of stale air carried faint moans or chanting, or maybe illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. They advanced in uneasy formation, each beam of light revealing broken benches, half-rotted Bibles scattered under dust. At the far end, near the altar, ephemeral shapes flicker. Illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions reminiscent of robed figures gliding across the floor. One watcher shouted, "Who's there?" But only silence answered. Yet that hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, felt loaded with presence. Reaching the trapdoor, they found it partially ajar. A single watery reflection of torchlight flickered from below. The Watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Perhaps intangible watchers awaited them. The exorcist took the lead, intoning prayers in hushed Latin. The Watchers followed down into the crypt. They found the dais as described, the metal box open on the floor. Except now, illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. A new item lay next to it, a small wooden idol carved in the shape of a twisted being, half human, half something else. The Watchers circled it warily. The exorcist sprinkled holy water on the dais, chanting for deliverance. A low groan reverberated from the walls. Illusions overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Then, a swirl of shadows formed at the crypt's edges, coalescing into vague outlines of elongated figures. One watchers tried shining their flashlight upon the shapes, but the beam flickered uncontrollably. Illusions overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The exorcist raised a crucifix, commanding the presence to depart. For a moment, the shapes wavered, as though uncertain. Then, a sudden surge of intangible hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, slammed into the watchers like a wave, making them stagger. A spectral wail or shriek formed, but was simultaneously muffled, as if trapped behind a thick barrier. Illusions overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Some watchers collapsed to their knees, hearts pounding with an unnatural fear. In a final push, the exorcist hurled the wooden idol into a small brazier they brought, igniting it. A stifled shriek rang out. Illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The intangible hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, seemed to implode. Then, abruptly, the crypt fell silent. The watchers interpret illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Possibly they broke the core of the dark presence. Emerging upstairs, the watchers found the main floor eerily calm. No swirling shapes, no intangible hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The side door stood open, as if beckoning them to leave. They regrouped outside in the moonlit yard, exchanging stunned glances. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Did they succeed in banishing the dread that had clung to the church for centuries? The watchers remain uncertain. Some sense a shift in the atmosphere, lighter, less oppressive. Others fear overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions that the hush might resurrect if any piece of the cursed relics remain. Still, the immediate hush overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions had retreated. The watchers parted ways as dawn approached, pledging to check back soon. Over the next days, local rumors suggested the intangible presence had receded. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. The watcher scanning the building from outside reported no shapes in the windows, no faint chanting. Indeed, it seemed the rusted keys' final unlocking led to an exorcism or purge. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Whether they truly erased centuries of black magic or only suppressed remains unverified. The watchers also note that the ring of keys is still in Clara's possession, stored in a lead-lined box as a precaution. She contemplates returning them to the trapdoor with a final sealing. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. But no one can guarantee overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions won't rouse again. Despite all, watchers remain enthralled by rusted keys to the Shunned Church, eerie midnight rituals, and the deadly curse that followed a fateful unlock. For them, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions define the entire saga, a cautionary lesson on how old structures might harbor intangible or malevolent forces waiting to be unleashed by a single, naive turn of a key. In the hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions of these deserted places. The watchers see illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, heartbreak, horror, and unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions. The watchers glean a final reflection that sometimes the best course is to let the rust remain on such keys, never unlocking that which was forcibly sealed by those who came before. Some watchers claim that the exorcism was incomplete. Illusions overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. They hear faint echoes at dusk, an intangible hush, overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, swirling near the old spire. Perhaps the curses woven by the midnight rituals remain in some corner. Overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. Or maybe the Watchers overcame them, forging closure. No official statement clarifies. The Watchers only know that fear once thrived there, and the memory remains. Illusions overshadow illusions, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions. That final hush, overshadow illusions, unstoppable illusions, overshadow illusions, may lie dormant in the shadows. And so, the Watchers pass on this story as a testament to how a single set of rusted keys can open not merely a physical door, but a gateway to intangible gloom that claims the unwary.